Just like our health is dependent on the quality of the foundational building blocks, the microbiome, in the same way, the quality of the food we eat is dependent on the environment in which it's grown. Watch this.
You know, some of the studies show now as well, we used to use probiotics ad nauseum, I still do. They have an important clinical place, but we can actually contribute to the monoculture of our gut by giving one strain of probiotic for long term.
Wow.
So back to food, because that increases diversity versus just probiotic strains. Wow. And back to things that actually, you know, eating food out of the soil without maybe always washing it off, as long as you get it from a good source. I think that's a great idea.
Wow.
And if we go one step further, the health of the soil, which is lacking severely in the U.S., is a reflective marker of what's going to happen to our microbiome. Because the food comes from the soil, our microbiome is actually very connected to the soil. And as we're using these pesticides and chemicals on the soils, we are obliterating the soil microbiome. And of course, that in turn affects us because we're eating food from the soil that's lacking in nutrients, lacking in diversity, lacking in the microbes that we need to colonize our gut.
So we have soils that are poisoned with glyphosate, and you can't even grow organic in them, you know, until you wait several years to get rid of the glyphosate. So we've got a huge problem right now. Even if we were to stop using it right now, we'd have to wait a long time before it disappears from our environment. And glyphosate has been shown to preferentially kill the good bacteria. We have strong correlations between intestinal infection and inflammatory bowel disease and celiac disease, all of those very strongly correlated with glyphosate usage on corn and soy crops. We can get that data from the U.S. government. It's freely available on the web, and I've looked at all these different data sets. I'm a computer scientist, so I can process data. And so the gut is definitely being hit hard by the glyphosate. And the soil, same thing. There's bacteria in the soil, and they are super important for allowing the plants to pull up the nutrients, just as the bacteria in the gut are super important to supply us with nutrients. And in fact, the pathway that glyphosate disrupts, which is the shikimate pathway.
The what?
Shikimate pathway. That's the pathway glyphosate disrupts. So that's the key. It actually does a lot of other things, but Monsanto focuses on that pathway, and they say, well, look, you know, we don't have that pathway. Our cells don't have that. It's a biological pathway.
That humans don't have that pathway.
Yeah. So lucky us, we're safe, right? Mm-hmm. That's the argument. It's a false argument because our gut microbes do have that pathway, and they use it to produce incredibly important nutrients for us. And this includes, for example, folate. So it produces the aromatic amino acids, this pathway. And so if the microbes can't produce those aromatic amino acids, we can't get them because our cells can't make those amino acids.
So we know that the good bacteria in our gut have a strong influence on producing enough of the B vitamin called folate,
yes,
or folic acid, as most people have heard it in the past.
Yes.
And that glyphosate, perhaps the other inert ingredients in there, but specifically glyphosate, will interfere with our gut's ability to produce enough folate.
That's right.
The soil and us.